self-reported customer service expert, or CSE as they were called, exhaled loudly after her call with Natalie Simmons. She glanced over at the framed certificates that lined the wall of her cubicle. She held the record for customer saves. It was rare that she couldn't convince someone to hang on to their service, but she'd lost her edge with Natalie Simmons. She was tired and getting too old to run the roads into the wee hours of morning, then drag herself into work and perform to the standards she'd set for herself. That's why Natalie Simmons gained control over her, she thought, as she tapped a pen on her desk and stared at the information still on the screen. Amanda had always been an unlucky name for her. The next day, she'd switch back to Carol. No one at Intellex ever gave his or her real name to give the impression that it was a much larger company than it actually was. That served her well. Completely anonymous. She had the upper hand and could gaze into someone's personal life with the touch of a button. Who they talked to the most, who called them, and more importantly, where they lived. Intellex provided her with some of the most intimate details of a person's life. It was up to her to discover the rest. She'd been bored lately. No one interested her anymore. Until today. Most were like putty in her hands, bending to her will. But not Natalie Simmons. She was strong, knew what she wanted, someone who needed to be put in her place. A challenge to be embraced and relished. Finally, a worthy opponent had made her way into her clutches. It could be fun. Ms. Simmons lived at 1937 Kutcher Street in Greenwell Springs, Louisiana, a suburb of Baton Rouge. Born October 4th, 1978, she was 2 years older. Could be interesting. Her attitude certainly was. CSE number 223 jotted the information down. Maybe she'd get a second wind after her shift and have a look at Ms. Natalie Simmons. Chapter 1. Well, you're in early. Natalie Simmons looked over at the counter as she walked into the bookstore. A puff of gray hair peeked out over the top of a pile of books. I hope you've made coffee, Andrea. I'm out at the house. In the back. The chocolate is in the cabinet with the creamer. Want a cup? Natalie asked as she wove through the crowded shelves of books. No. I'm peeing every 30 minutes as it is. Don't get old, kid. It sucks. Natalie smiled as she added a dash of chocolate syrup to her coffee. Andrea Thoreau, a chocolate lover and a diabetic, kept it on hand for her visits, though the temptation to indulge was often strong. Natalie had begged Andrea not to, but she'd only smiled and said, "If it makes your visits longer, then I'll buy it by the case." New arrivals? Natalie walked back up to the counter. Yes, more used crap to fill the shelves with that no one will buy. I have a ton of these old romances with heaving bosoms and hard male members already. Natalie heard a gagging sound coming from behind the pile of tattered novels and laughed. Throw Dexter off the couch and have a seat. I'll be over in a minute when my old brain sends the signal down to my feet. Andrea slowly climbed off her stool. Dexter, an overweight orange tabby, lay sprawled out in the warm beams of the sun piercing through the large storefront window. He mewed his protest when Natalie pushed him off to the side. Disgruntled with having to share his favorite napping spot, he hopped down and sauntered off to finish the last of his breakfast. Andrea moved at a snail's pace with her cane. Her wiry gray hair stuck out at